Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars and welcome to another classic film review. And the classic film I am looking at today is the 1980 science fiction film Battle Beyond the Stars. A film that is directed by Jimmy T. Murakami and also Roger Corman, even though he is uncredited. Now this is one of those Roger Corman science fiction films. Now if you're not sure who Roger Corman is, basically he was the king of the B-movies back in the day. And this film stars Richard Thomas, George Peppard, Robert Vaughn, John Saxon, Darlene Flugel and Sybil Danning. And it is a sweeping science fiction epic that basically is a remake of The Seven Samurai or The Magnificent Seven. Take your pick, basically. So it's like The Magnificent Seven in space, really. And it focuses on this peaceful planet where Richard Thomas's people live, and they are visited by John Saxon's Sador, who is a world-conquering bad guy. And he turns up at their planet and gleefully tells them that he will be coming back in 7 days, and when he does, they will bow down to him and he will rule their planet. So they don't have any means of fighting back or any weapons or anything, and the only thing they do have is one spaceship that is with a computer on board called Nell. And so they send Richard Thomas's character Shad out into the galaxy to try and find some mercenaries who will come back and fight for them and help them fight Sador and his forces. So he heads out into the galaxy in the hope of finding these mercenaries, and he picks up 7 in particular, 7 mercenaries who all decide for their own reasons to come back and fight against the forces of Sador. Right. So what are my thoughts on A Battle Beyond the Stars? Well, this is one of those films. I actually went to the cinema to see this back in the day. At the time this came out, science fiction films were hugely popular, obviously because of Star Wars, and then we got Star Trek in '79, and we got Battlestar Galactica, and then this came out, and when you watch this now, and it's a good few years since I've seen this, but I've watched it to do this review. It's a long time since I've seen it, and well as it still feels a fun film to watch for me, and it's a great nostalgia hit, and the story is timeless, really. Oh my god, how did Roger Corman get away with some of the things he did on this film in regards to some of the special effects that he stole, and especially the noises. He stole them from pretty much every established science fiction film out there. Incredible, really. And you may or may not know that James Cameron as well worked on this film. He worked on some of the special effects and the miniatures in particular, I think. And he did a lot of work with Roger Corman, James Cameron, before he broke out and obviously became the top-notch director that he became. But the film to watch now, I think my son, I don't think will have ever seen this. If I tried to watch this with him, I'm not sure what he would make of it, because a lot of the effects and things you really struggle with. It's the story that keeps us going, and actually the cast, because it's a really good cast. I think Richard Thomas does well as like this Luke Skywalker type character, I suppose you could describe him as, who's, you know, young and innocent, going out to try and find these mercenaries. George Peppard, I think, was brilliant as Cowboy, really relatable, and there's obvious references here to the Magnificent Seven, i.e. George Peppard's character Cowboy is literally dressed as a cowboy and is obsessed with cowboy movies, and we even have Robert Vaughn in the film, who was in the Magnificent Seven himself. So it's not subtle in its approach, and it realises what it is, this film, and if you take this film at face value, you would enjoy it, certainly, because it doesn't take itself particularly seriously, and there's a lot of fun moments in it, especially for a teenage boy watching Sybil Danning in this film, who her costume design certainly wasn't subtle, and there is probably many a teenage boy who gleefully enjoyed her performance, myself included, back in the day. a very, very beautiful woman. So is this a science fiction classic? You certainly cannot hold it in the same esteem as some of those science fiction films that I've mentioned earlier. It's not even in the same level of Battlestar Galactica, and Battlestar Galactica was a made-for-TV movie, even though I think in the UK we got that on the cinema. I could be wrong, but I seem to remember watching it at the cinema. But it is certainly a very, very enjoyable science fiction film with a very, very familiar story. And these kind of stories where you are introduced to a number of characters and then they're slowly killed off one at a time, spoilers, I really like them. You know, Predator did the same thing. You know, and film and Alien films that do that, where you're introduced to these characters, you get to know them, and then they are slowly, you know, they're killed off as the film progresses. I really like that approach to films. It's a timeless story that I think has proven to work over and over again, and it works well here, I think. Is it going to win any awards for its special effects? Oh my god, no. They really are quite something. And there's so many plot holes as well in this film when you watch it. I mean, he's got this weapon that can destroy planets on his ship, Sador, and you see him use it earlier in the film. And then when he turns back up to Richard Thomas's planet, there's a huge space battle ensues. Well, why didn't he just turn up and blow up the planet if they were, you know, a bit mad, really. But yeah, I think a fair score for this film is 7 out of 10. Only because of the quality of it, in a sense of the effects and things haven't aged particularly well, and the plot holes and the real cheese and corniness associated with it. But for me, it still holds a great deal of nostalgia for me, and I think it is a very, very good science fiction film, and arguably certainly Roger Corman's best, but his track record certainly leaves a lot to be desired, Roger Corman. So yeah, it's a fun 1980s science fiction film, and certainly if you're a fan of the Magnificent Seven and things like that, you would probably certainly relate to this story. So that is my classic film review for Battle Beyond the Stars. I hope you found it useful. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to click the like button. It really does help the channel. And of course, I'll see you back for more reviews on Screen Stars.